Abusua kwaba about the POG political media so said the dare Diane and see J so my Ghana political issues in the so yes etimi akabe say babasum my Ghana or POG media so na musoma who the echo and the eba na ye bo e right in man said ye bo e ra IMANI o makachi say in simbia omoso e de ababeto dwa efa NPP aban ebre so gold for oil bi policy and say sa deal no mo so ka che Ghana mine say omo de gold ni bi enso ebeko no che so mo so de aka koje oil no IMANI Africa for na say IMANI Ghana isuzu say kata hye ne proye bi so atimi akoso ho a che so omo so de krata tintintin de some issues be egu krata so e dey abo e dey right EOCO any other national security issues institute almost ombra na just almost running forensics e wo kwan oil for gold no transaction no and also etimi call so no musu say katashe bi enso abo anase katashe bi atweniti wo abusu me say bejebre ne abo rasa issue that's it.
This afternoon, think tank IMANI says a forensic risk assessment of Ghana's Gold for Oil program has revealed staggering fiscal leakages, systemic fraud and governance failures, sparking fierce calls from IMANI Africa and a coalition of oversight institutions for urgent prosecution and recovery of stolen revenues. According to IMANI, the multinational review drawing data from the National Petroleum Authority, BOST and Customs exposed a pattern of opacity, preferential access, and structural loopholes that enabled massive revenue losses. On the gold side of the program, investigators found there were no contracts between the Bank of Ghana and the Precious Minerals Marketing Company, a lapse that allowed weak pricing controls and discretionary exchange rate practices and mandatory delivery quotas that encourage smuggling. Well, joining me in the studio is a key member of our research desk, G0ld. Just join us to break down the key findings. Caleb, what exactly are their concerns based on this report?
Okay, so according to IMANI, they got data from the NPA, BOST, and then some of the fiscal authorities. And they found that some of the fiscal slippages that happened in the Gold for Oil program were somewhat intentional. So according to the findings from IMANI, the system was designed in a way that it would be very difficult for the authorities to trace back where some payments were made and then where some money went to. And this was intentional. It was not an oversight or some breaches. It was intentional for people to try and maneuver the system and take advantage of it. And just for recap, the Gold for Oil program came in 2023, where because of the depreciating cedi and the high prices of crude on the market because of the Ukraine war, the Ukraine-Russia war, prices of petroleum products in Ghana were very high. So the government at the time came in with a Gold for Oil program where they get gold from small-scale miners through PMMC, which is now Gold Board. They buy the gold from small-scale miners. They give it to the BOG. The BOG then goes to the market and either swaps it directly for oil or sells it and then uses the forex to buy oil and bring it to Ghana. So now, according to IMANI, the first thing they found was there was no agreement between the BOG who gets the gold from PMMC. So BOG and PMMC, there was no formal contract. And prior to this, the Auditor General actually flagged this some few years ago that there was no proper contract between BOG and PMMC. So they should do the BOG should take steps to come and implement a contract, and the BOG said they would do that. But according to IMANI's findings, there was still no contract. And because there was no contract, there's no accountability, and it's very hard to trace where some payments went to. Additionally, he also said that some companies that use, because when BOG gets the gold, they give the gold to a gold broker outside the country, and that person goes to look for the oil for us. Now, according to the findings from IMANI, the gold brokers, some of them, their identities are not known, and sometimes the companies used to trade the oil and gold, and they have questionable ownership, some leading to some countries in the Cayman Islands and all of that. So that's a major problem identified by IMANI. Also, according to IMANI, the fuel that was brought into the country had 7.5 billion in tax exemptions, but according to their analysis, 7.2 billion has been lost the state because of some poor reconciliation. And also there were because Boss was the only player allowed to bring in the oil and sell it, that undue influence Boss had was an avenue for, some slippages to occur. If you can go to the next slide. So, according to IMANI, these are and also lack of opacity, which I mentioned earlier, because some of the traders, they use the companies, the owners of these companies, some were shell companies. So it's very difficult to trace back who was actually getting the fuel for us, who paid, who some payments were made to, who owns these companies and all of that. So IMANI is asking for IMANI is asking for a forensic audit into the entire Gold for Oil program. And we know the BOG has said they lost 2 billion Ghana cedis for the overall cost of the Gold for Oil program from 2023 and 2024. They lost about 2 billion Ghana cedis. But according to IMANI, according to the BOG, this was just forex losses. But IMANI said there's more to it and then more investigation needs to be done. And also they say there was a breach of fiduciary duties where we entrusted officials to implement a policy that's supposed to support the country, but then they intentionally made the entire process opaque so that they can benefit from it.
Interesting. Thank you so much, Caleb, for that update. Well, join me now on Zoom as we explore this further here on The Pulse. A senior research associate at IMANI Africa. I'm Offícíals. Thank you so much for your time here on The Pulse. We're just going through the key findings here, and it's quite interesting, some of the key things that you raise in this statement you have put out. Let's take it step by step. First of all, the part where we are getting to find out that there was no official contract between BOG and its allies. Walk us through the procedure and why you think this is indeed flawed.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam, and hello to your listeners. Good afternoon. That was a brilliant opening by your colleague. I think he sums up key points that we raised in our report. Now, let me just walk you through what we found, because I mean, when you paint a holistic picture, it will be easy for your viewership and listeners to understand. Now, when you look at what happened, IMANI basically categorizes our findings into the governance issues that we found. Okay, and I'll tackle that. And then also that the high risk corporate actors, which this program sort of enabled, which put the country at risk. And then most importantly, we look at the revenue leakage that occurred, just because we feel that BOSS had a huge role to play in the unfolding of these events. Now, back to your question, when you lack that foundational contract over this very important program that the government sought to pursue, then it really begs the question what the intent of this was in the first place. Now, what this contributed to a number of things, and I'll walk you through them. Now, the lack of governance made it possible that there were weak pricing controls. You know, the London Bullion Market Association, which sets the gold price every day, right? They are the go-to standard for what gold pricing is. And in this instance, there was inconsistent application of the LBMA pricing and the lack of independent assay. Assay is somebody who's an accredited independent body, a neutral party who verifies the weight of the gold sample that you have. All these were missing in the gold program, in the G0ld program, which really is at the core of everything that we've learned over the past couple of months. Now, not only were there weak pricing controls, but also, as referred to by your colleague, there were discretionary forex practices. Now, the Bank of Ghana applied discretionary exchange rates, okay? And this created opportunities for arbitrage and hidden value transfer. And arbitrage is when someone buys something in one market at a low price and quickly sells it in another market at a very high price to make a risk-free profit from the price difference. So under the gold G0ld program, the Bank of Ghana was effectively both a buyer of gold in cedis and a payer for fuel imports, okay? Because there's no single official exchange rate at which gold is converted into dollars for oil, the BOG can choose a discretionary exchange rate. For example, valuing the CD differently from the prevailing interbank forex bureau rate at any day. Okay, so this gave the central bank flexibility to manage its books, but also it also opened up the door to arbitrage, like I mentioned. Traders or intermediaries can then exploit the gap between BOG's rate and the real market rate by buying gold or fuel at one rate and selling at another. Over time, these gaps can result in hidden value transfers, where some actors capture extra profit at the state's expense. And that's what we saw in our findings.
And it's quite interesting. Another key thing I see in your findings is that you're concerned that the whole process enabled revenue leakages, which is heard from the former MD for BOST. On our midday bulletin on Joy 99.7 FM, defend the gold for oil deal, telling us that it actually inured to the benefit of government, enabling government to rake in revenue. That's according to their internal audit. But here you are telling us that there was lawful exemptions at import stages, but there was no downstream tracking. And this actually affected the revenue of BOST. Tell us more about this finding.
This happens when fuel imported under the program is legally given tax or duty exemptions at the port, and to make it cheaper. But there's no proper system to follow up once the fuel moves into the market.
Okay.
These exemptions are supposed, let me finish. These exemptions are supposed to be temporary or conditional. Okay. For example, the tax is.
Okay. I seem to be losing you, but I'll come back to you as we reconnect the lines. Something is happening right now. The Communications Minister, Sam Nate-George, is addressing the press today regarding the standoff between MultiChoice Ghana and operators of DSTV. I'll come back to you for that conversation, but let me take you there live right now, and we'll listen to Sam George.
It's quite a more full fellow.
Sound like POG Media, I share so better line. I don't subscribe to a POG political media so any day no book as well better subscription now share no for so answer so etimen POG Media no so who the EOCO any day ebani na ewo oh my Ghana ya political headlines nim na ensema che say free money or che say kwaya yes are good for oil no transaction no si course no so etimi raise traces there no so be lead back to them so what do when you can share transaction no ewo krata so a ebe den so obi nso be hu say asika we fa nemo almost stress aban no run forensics fa forensics investigation fa transactions and also etimi call so good for you no so say kataje ebi nso etimi atwenity ewo hono.
Hello Badugela, who is the CEO of MultiChoice Africa. Or the rest of Africa, as it is called. We're here to have a very short engagement. On the 7th of September 2025, I provided an update to the country on the engagement with MultiChoice on the pricing of the DSTV service in Ghana. This culminated in the establishment of a stakeholder committee comprising representatives of the Ministry of Communication, Digital Technology and Innovations, the National Communications Authority, MultiChoice Africa, and MultiChoice Ghana. The committee, chaired by myself, had two clear objectives. One, to achieve a shared understanding of DSTV pricing in Ghana and to agree on a structured, mutually acceptable, and commercially viable measure to address concerns around the pricing of the DSTV service in Ghana. Two, to establish an acceptable roadmap to curb cross-border piracy of DSTV decoders and services from Nigeria to Ghana. Today, I'm joined by members of the stakeholder committee, including the CEO Pay TV Rest of Africa and the MD of MultiChoice Ghana, as well as the Director General of the NTA, to report the outcome of the committee's work. I must commend the committee and for the commitment of all members to achieving the outcomes within the rigid time period during which MultiChoice Africa was going through a shareholder transition. I acknowledge the mutual respect and candor throughout the committee's deliberation. Now, we will start with the outcome of the committee's deliberation, first on cross-border piracy. The committee considered the issue of cross-border piracy of DSTV decoders from Nigeria into Ghana, which has for years deprived the state of tax revenue. It's transferred jobs from Ghana to Nigeria, denied unsuspecting customers of good customer service, and is actively working towards the decline of the Ghanaian local content creation space. To address this, the committee has recommended the establishment of a working group with representation from the Ministry of Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation, the National Communications Authority, the Cybersecurity Authority, the Ghana Domain Name Registry, the National IT Agency, the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority, the Ghana Police Service, MultiChoice Africa, and MultiChoice Ghana. I will work with the heads of the above agencies to establish the working group in due course to comprehensively tackle this issue of cross-border piracy. Now to the outcome of the committee's deliberation on the evaluation of DSTV's pricing. The committee deliberated on the pricing of the DSTV service, considered various factors, including the cost factors, the macroeconomic environment of Ghana, subscription volume trends, among others, and discussed and provided input on several options considered by MultiChoice Africa, and arrived at an outcome that will deliver better value to all subscribers in Ghana. MultiChoice Africa has committed to implement an unprecedented increased value offer only in Ghana, and I repeat, only in Ghana, which will result in Ghanaian DSTV subscribers getting more services for less. Depending on the DSTV package or bouquet you use, subscribers will get between 33% to 50% more value. The new arrangements, effective from 1st October 2025, are as follows. For those who are on the Paddy bouquet subscription, you currently pay 59 Ghana cedis. When you pay 59 Ghana cedis, you get upgraded automatically to Access, which is valued at 99 Ghana cedis, and you get 35 more channels. This represents a 40% savings if you were to pay for the Access yourself. Second bouquet, Access, currently going at 99 Ghana cedi. If you retain your Access bouquet at 99 Ghana cedi, MultiChoice will bump you up to the family bouquet, which is currently priced at 190 Ghana cedis. You get 19 more channels, which means that if you were to stay on Access and get bumped up for the value you get, you make a savings of 48%. If you're on the family package, which is currently valued at 190 Ghana cedis, DSTV will automatically bump you up to Compact, which ordinarily goes for 380 Ghana cedis. You get 22 more channels and actually get access to live football matches. So anybody on the family package, which previously didn't get live football matches, would automatically get live football matches. The value savings on this, 50%. Compact, currently going at 380 Ghana cedis, gets bumped up automatically to Compact Plus, which is priced at 570 Ghana cedis. You get 12 more channels in addition, and the value savings, 33%. Compact Plus, valued at 570 Ghana cedis. You pay that, you're automatically bumped up to Premium, which goes at the price of 865 cedis. You get 18 more channels and a value of 34%. For those who remain on their Premium bouquet, which is priced at 865 Ghana cedis, you will still get all the content on the Premium flagship, the flagship Premium bouquet, but you also get an automatic entry into the competition for the chance to win a fully paid trip to watch selected English Premiership games. But this is, as well as you know, subject to terms and conditions. There is no restriction on a subscriber's choice of a bouquet. The offer is available to both existing and new customers from 1st of October 2025. Effectively, MultiChoice has offered value over and above what we expected of them. I went into this with a request for 30%. With what we have discussed here, the lowest is 33%, the highest is 50%. And I extend my warmest gratitude to the MultiChoice team for that. I want to commend them for their goodwill towards subscribers in Ghana, and the committee is of the view that this increased value offer addresses government concerns, it reduces pressure on Ghanaian households, while ensuring the sustainability of the DSTV service in Ghana. In addition, MultiChoice Africa will provide a 555 Ghana cedi subsidy for the Zappa decoder and dish kit. New customers will therefore be able to get the Zappa and dish kit at 50% of its current price. So yet another 50% discount for subscribers. The committee will reconvene in 3 months to evaluate the impact of this initiative. This will be an ongoing and periodic exercise. Fellow Ghanaians, I know that sounds familiar, right? The message today is simple. The government of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is on your side, and MultiChoice is a responsible business operating in Ghana. I thank the Ghanaian public for their support and patience on this matter. Thank you very much. I'll open up and take questions. Yes.
Yeah, good afternoon. My name is Sammy.
Can we please have some silence in the room so we can hear the questions? Thank you.
The issue of transition, I know that DSTV collects CSTV on behalf of G0ld. It makes my mind why an institution like DSTV is collecting CSTV. Because I thought they are a media company. I don't know any media organization that collects CSTV on behalf of G0ld.
That's fine.
Is there something?
That's fine. Next question. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. The last time we spoke about DSTV and the rate, the fact that they were going to reduce the rate, and we have seen another communication from them, hence today's press conference. Once you have introduced the fact that they are part of the press conference, may we hear from them that if they agree with the statement that actually are tomorrow we're not here, DSTV and the last time they were not here.
All right, next question. Any other question? Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I'm from 1997, Richmond. So the last time we had a meeting with us. You mentioned that you are going to have a meeting with DSTV, so they will reduce the key prices. And afterwards, when Canal Plus comes in, we're also going to engage for further reaction. We want to know if that has been done.
Okay. Any other question? Yes, a lady's hands.
I say so come when I bought Eddie Raju Media say POG Media the about Ghana authentic political headlines are a POG Media so pen on sabet me account who the EOCO and the urban in my Ghana political space. Now so subscribe to POG Media and the any book also a message sobre drop subscription now was saying of for so answer so at me catch media ni binom so who the EOCO and the urban in my Ghana political headlines. But I say so o come when I bought Eddie Raju Media.